Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday morning, August the 15th. I'm Brett, your Thankful Carnivore, with today's Thankful Carnivore Report. I appreciate you all so much hanging out with me across all my social media. Thankful Carnivore on Facebook and Thankful.Carnivore on Instagram. YouTube channel, yes, is Thankful Carnivore. And on Twitter, where the meaty and savages run wild. You can catch me at Stickman Bleeding. That's StickmanBleedin. Don't add the G. Never add the G. Listen, I want to make mention of a couple of things that I've forgotten so far this week. I want to encourage everybody to go to Carnomad's YouTube channel. And I'm going to do my best to remember to put a link in the bottom of this so that you can click on it and go there, because he's got two interviews I want everybody to watch. The first one is with Ivor Cummins. I'm telling you, it's an outstanding discussion. Mike did a fabulous job with some great questions, and he got some good questions from folks at Twitter. Ivor's an incredible human being. I've had the privilege of being interviewed by him. It's going to be out in October, November. And I highly recommend that. I also want to recommend on Carnomad Mike's channel the interview that my wife and I did last weekend with Mike on Carnomad, where it was the first half hour was primarily about my wife's journey. And then we spent some time, a significant amount of time, talking about what Carnivore's done for our marriage. It's a great discussion. Mike asked some fantastic questions, and I highly encourage all of you to go check that out at Carnomad, Carnomad, on YouTube. Check it out. I want to talk to you all today about the importance of being honest, or at least not lying. Think about that for a minute, because being truthful all the time, that's hard. It's easy not to lie. Telling the truth can be dangerous, because we all know that when we see truth, it's seldom polite. It's seldom nice. It damn sure ain't politically correct. But it's so important and so vital. So anytime I represent something to you guys, it's because I believe it, or because I know it to be true. And I know that if I mislead somebody, I'm responsible for what harm might befall them to some degree, because I might have put an improper notion or given them a false idea or given them bad information that could come back to hurt them. That's why we always have to be I'm always very careful to only speak about the carnivore way of eating in my experience. I don't discuss things outside of my experience, because if I start talking gluconeogenesis, I'm going to sound like an idiot, because I'm not a scientist. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I don't have the education to articulate that stuff in an intelligent, believable manner. But I could sure tell you how I healed myself of depression, anxiety, and insomnia that haunted me for 40 years by eating meat and drinking water. That I can do with great joy in my heart and no regrets whatsoever. But when we tell people, even I have to be careful of this. If I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I have to do that. If I don't do what I say I'm going to do, that's dishonest. And that is not putting goodness out into the world. In many ways, it's putting the opposite of goodness within ourselves and out into the world. Because when we don't do what we say we're going to do, we first weaken ourselves. We make ourselves weaker by doing so. And we cause harm to some degree in the person we were not honest with. Now, this is not I'm not getting into the morality of it. I'm just talking about the good and the bad. I'm not anybody else's moral conscience, and I never will be. But I'll tell you this, as somebody who's felt the sting of karma over the decades, because karma don't care if you're sick or not. If you say or do something that is inappropriate or dishonest, if you verbally harm somebody, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, it's going to come back and bite you. And you don't get to say, but wait a minute, I was crazy. I was sick. No, I get a pass. Doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at any level of health, on any socioeconomic level. The truth will always win out. And when we don't do what we say we're going to do, when we tell people little lies, karma adds up, I'm telling you. And I just don't recommend it. Now, here's what I've observed since I've started eating meat and drinking water. Number one, being honest is easier. It's way easier because you're not all conflicted with noise in your head, brain fog, and all that endless mind chatter that I used to have going on. It doesn't exist anymore. So I'm not constantly at war with myself in that way. And those of you who eat meat and drink water, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My point is, people, being honest. If you make it your daily practice, you don't even have to think about it. And if you don't suffer from brain fog and you're being honest with yourself, you know how to address people and situations honestly without being offensive. See, there's a difference between being assertive and being aggressive and being passive aggressive. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but I highly encourage each and every one of you to go look that up. The difference between being aggressive, passive aggressive, and passive is profound. Most of the time when I'm assertive, I get accused of being aggressive. And that's because people seldom assert themselves appropriately. So that when you do assert yourself appropriately to somebody who's never seen it, oh my gosh, their minds are blown. Anyway, I don't want to get all into that. The focus is on being honest. And stop and think about it. Except in cases where the truth might cause undue, unnecessary harm to another person, there's really no good reason not to saturate yourself in it. And that's something that I work on every day still and will for the rest of my life. Because I know it's sometimes easier to not say the whole truth or only say part of the truth because you don't want to deal with a potential conflagration or an argument or whatever. But I find being honest and kind at the same time makes it, the truth, much more palatable. Anyway, those are just some thoughts I've had on honesty this day. Don't make yourself weaker. Tell the truth. Do what you say you're going to do at all times. If you tell yourself, I'm going to eat meat and drink water, that's what you ought to do. Lying to yourself is the most destructive thing you can do, in my opinion. And we've got the before pictures to show that, yeah, I used to lie to myself a lot. All right, sorry for being so silly with the rambling today, but I think you all get the point. Just tell the truth. Be honest. Don't lie. Eat your meat. Drink your water. Be very thankful. And we'll talk to you all tomorrow.